Hello and welcome back to our physics game series. Today we are going to implement shooting for our game. So without further ado, let's get going. To start things off, let's add a new behavior for our ball. And if you have watched our previous series, you might remember that we can add it right from the properties of the ball, going here to the behaviors section and pressing the edit behaviors. Well, currently we don't have any behaviors, so let's add new, and the one we are looking for is called physics. And just like it says here, it will simulate realistic object physics. So basically this will give us all the physics properties that we will need to build our physics game. And here you can see all the properties of the physics objects, and for now we can leave most of them as they are, but one that we want to change is this collision mask. And currently it's the use collision polygon, and what it will mean that if we use this, it will use this collision polygon when it will count all the physics. But because we have a ball, we want to behave like a ball, so we can make it circle. So now it will rotate or roll like a circle or ball would in real life. And all of the others we can just leave as they are for now. We can change them when we are starting to build levels, so that we know better what kind of properties we want to have in those levels. So now that we have our physics behavior on our ball, let's jump into event sheets. And here we need to tweak a little bit of our code that we built last time, because currently we are setting the position to be the slingshot for every single tick in the game. But actually we want to do it only when we are aiming. So we are going to build a small state machine, and you don't really have to know what state machine is, but basically what we are going to do is to add one global variable that we will use to define if our state is aiming or it's not aiming. So basically we are going to use boolean, because we only have two states in this game, aiming and the shooting. So let's make a new global variable. Let's call it aiming and make it boolean, and we want to have the initial value as true, because when we start the game we want to start aiming, and we don't really want to start the game shooting the ball before we can aim. So with this we can press OK. Now that we have the aiming boolean there, then we want to change this every tick condition to check if the aiming is true. So how we can do that? We just double click it, then we go here is boolean set, and here we choose the aiming. Well, we don't have any other, so that's the only thing we can choose. And now it's working exactly the same as last time. This is basically every single tick, because we just check if this is true, and it is currently it is true every single tick. So it works the same, but now we can make, actually we can just copy this one, Ctrl C, Ctrl B, then we delete that and delete these two. Then we highlight the condition and then press I to invert this condition, and now we have the other state in our game when we check if the aiming is false or not true. So under here we can make everything that we want to do while we want to shoot the ball. Next we need to think how we want to implement the shooting, and I've thought about it that we do it when we release our touch, or mouse button, then we are going to shoot the ball towards the, well, where we are aiming. So to do that, let's add a new sub event to the is aiming by pressing B. And then for the condition, again, we want the touch. And here is on any touch end, like so. And now for the action, well, first, because we want to change it to be shooting state, so we just set the aiming to be false. And it can be found here in the system because it's global variable. Here, set boolean aiming to be false. And now if we play our game, if we track it and then release, the ball will just fall because the physics properties will apply to it, and we are not setting the position back to the slingshot and then moving the ball to the correct position. But it doesn't shoot yet, so we need to apply an impulse to it. So let's add a new action, choose the ball, and here should be the physics properties, and here the forces section is something called apply impulse at angle. So we can basically hit the ball in a specific angle. And well, let's put the angle first, and we can use self.angle because we already rotate the ball depending on where we are aiming, so we can just use that angle. And then for the impulse, well, we could do that we just put, let's say, 30 and shoot it with the force of 30 every time. But I actually want to make it so that if we stretch the slingshot more, then the impulse will be higher. So here we can use the distance function again. And if you remember from the last episode, we need 4 different parameters for it. And well, the first one is the starting position. And well, this time it's not the touch, it is actually the ball. So we choose ball.x and ball.y. And then, of course, the target point is the slingshot. So slingshot.x and slingshot.y. And again, it turns to blue to indicate that it has the correct amount of parameters. And with this work, we can leave the image point to 0 because we don't have any extra image points in our ball. And then we can just press done. And now the impulse might be a bit too strong, but let's try it. Yeah, as you can see, the ball shot really fast across the screen. And the other thing is that our rubber band will stay here. I would really like to go back to the slingshot or set the width to 0. So let's fix those. Well, first, if the impulse is too strong, then we can just divide it by, well, let's try 6. And well, then we can just set the width of the rubber band to be 0, so it doesn't stay. Now if we try, I think now it looks better. But well, currently we can shoot only once because the ball doesn't come back. So we can fix that by adding a new behavior to the ball. So here we choose the ball and yeah, here edit behaviors. And this time what we are looking for is this destroy outside layout. So this will automatically destroy the object if it leaves the layout area. And this is actually the reason why I changed the size of the layout to be the same as the size of the viewport. So now that if we shoot the ball outside of the camera area or the viewport, then the ball will get destroyed right away. But it doesn't do anything yet, rather than other than destroying the ball. We need to add a new event, and here we can check if the ball is destroyed. So here in Minsk section there is on destroyed. And now, well, we want to set the aiming to be true again, so that we can start aiming. So here in the system, set boolean, and we set it true. Press done. And well, the other thing is that, well, we destroyed the ball, so we don't have any ball to set the position to slingshot. So we need to create a new ball. So let's go to system, create object. Here we choose the ball, and let's set the position to be the slingshot because that's the place where it will go. So here slingshot.x and slingshot.y and press done. And now we should have working shooting implemented. Yeah, every time the ball goes outside of the layout, it will return. And then we can shoot again. But there is actually one problem. And I can show it to you if we build a level. Well, really quick level. So let's just make a wall really quickly. I'm going to use the tiled background. And just make it white. Yep, like so. Then let's add the grid. So let's make a small corner right in here. And now, well, now that if we play, the ball will go straight through the wall. So we need to add a behavior to the wall. And you might think that it's the solid that we used in the last series when we built the platformer game. But actually, when we are working with physics options, we need to add the physics behavior to the walls also. But we tick the immovable. So we enable to make objects have infinite mass, ideal for scenery. So basically it's something that we can't move, but it will have the physics properties, so the ball will collide with the wall. So now, if we try to shoot currently, the ball can stay right here. And, well, it doesn't go back because it doesn't get destroyed. So we need to add a new check here under the aiming. Let's make a sub event again by pressing B. And here we can check if the ball's velocity, we compare the velocity. If it's, well, less than, well, we can try 5. And of course we want to change the velocity to be overall velocity. If we would have x velocity, then it would just check if we are moving in the horizontal axis. And well, if we have the y, it will check if we are going up or down. So let's have the overall velocity, so we can check all the directions if we have any velocity in any direction. And then press done. And if this is true, then we just destroy the ball. And then, of course, when it gets destroyed, it will do these two actions, and then it should work properly. So let's try it again. Like this. Yeah, looks like it did work. But still, I think it might be better to pump it up a little bit, the threshold. So let's try maybe 10. It's still quite slow. I thought that it would be enough, but well, let's try 15. Well, that was too fast. Okay, looks like that. Oh yeah, we can change it later if it's too big or too small. But yeah, that's basically everything for this episode we need to do. For the next one, we are going to build a win condition to our levels and, well, build a small sample level. So that will be fun. I'll see you then.